Welcome back. The big story right now is what, of course, Cabinet has done. Let's go across to Ruchi. She's with us. Ruchi, what are you picking up in terms of Cabinet sources? What essentially has been cleared?
Well, this is a big development coming in. The Cabinet today has given a go-ahead to not one but two very important decisions. First, of course, is for the auto sector, where the Cabinet today has given a go-ahead to production-linked incentive schemes for the auto sector. The outlay for this, the Minister's office had asked the bureaucrats to work on a PLI scheme for the auto sector that would focus on some of the newer technologies such as hydrogen cells, battery-led electric vehicles as well. So this is going to be the first important decision that the Cabinet has taken today. The second big one is for the telecom sector. Now remember, Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw will be addressing the press conference at 3 p.m. today. We at ET Now were the first to break this story that the Cabinet today has given the much needed relief for the telecom sector. Sources do tell us the Cabinet has approved relief measures with respect to the AGR dues and perhaps may give a moratorium of about 4 years on the AGR dues. So this is a big development coming in. Remember, the idea, of course, is to ensure that there is no duopoly in the telecom sector. Remember, Kumar Mangalam Birla had himself written to the Prime Minister asking him to ensure that Vodafone, if Vodafone Idea can be saved in any manner. And given the fact that in the last Cabinet also this decision came, but the government wanted to take a bit of time to work out the modalities. The Cabinet today has cleared giving relief to the telecom sector. Of course, we're waiting to see, in greater details and await more clarity on it. But this is a big development coming in that we've broken first on ET Now. First to Naveen Kulkarni is joining us on the phone line. Mr. Kulkarni, thank you very much for taking your time out and speaking with us. We're awaiting more clarity on the Cabinet's decision today for the telecom sector, but this was being awaited for a very long time. Tell us what you're picking up and what kind of relief this is going to provide to Vodafone Idea.
See, one is what I can see is that the Cabinet has approved the moratorium of 4 years for AGR dues, which means that Vodafone Idea gets that respite of from a cash flow point of view. But the total outstanding liabilities will still be the same. I think the more important decision will be if the spectrum dues will be converted to equity in some format for telecom companies. It's not relevant for our Bharti or for Land Jio, but it is very relevant from the point of view of Vodafone Idea. If the spectrum dues are converted to government equity, then the company might be saved. However, what it means for the shareholders and all remains to be seen. But I think from the perspective of whether Vodafone Idea will continue to be an ongoing entity, I think these are the important developments which will be very carefully watching.
Understand that because
Go ahead, Ruchi. Okay. Naveen, just in terms of when the press conference will start, what are some things that you would eye out for in terms of what do they say? Is this the start of it? What happens ahead? What are some key highlights to watch out for?
See, I think the important aspects will be whether there is going to be any respite in terms of the interest payments. Currently the rate of interest, I think, which will be required from the telecom companies is reasonably high. Second is, as we were talking about, was the conversion of the dues into some form of equity. What will happen on that front is going to be very important. I think these are the key factors from Vodafone Idea point of view. From Bharti Airtel point of view, I do not know whether there is anything substantial apart from the 4-year moratorium which provides some respite in terms of cash flows. So that's what I can see at this point in time. Whether this package is going to be substantial in terms of saving the telecom sector in terms of maintaining adequate competitive intensity, I think that's something which we will be very, very much watchful about.
Right. In terms of auto PLI, anything interesting that you would pick up? Some of the names like Varroc, some other auto companies, auto ancillary, I mean, are flying in the session.
So I won't be able to comment on that at this point in time.
Oh, all right, all right. Kunal is also with us. Kunal, let's start with what's happening as far as the telecom space is concerned. Do you believe that this news is providing an up move?
Pankaj, in fact, the move has substantially added towards the gains for Bharti Airtel. I think the stock has just about gone through a very strong uptake, from those levels of 650, which was the impending breakout level for Bharti Airtel. I think it's just about gained a lot of traction. Even if you look at the charts intraday, I think the markets were sort of expecting and anticipating that the telecom package would or the relief would just about be very, very nearby, and which is why you saw the continuation up move coming out for Bharti Airtel. Today morning as well, you saw the stock showing some very strong signals of volumes as well. So right from the time when it broke past about that 700 mark, I think it's gained a good traction for itself. So I believe that out of the positives from telecom space, I would expect Bharti Airtel to continue to march up on the higher side. The stock, which is now confirmed a breakout above even that 725 mark, I believe should now probably be looking at least a 770, 775 as a target range potentially. Idea on the other hand, I think could also be looked at, because I believe over the last 1 to 2 weeks, there has been a huge accumulation of open interest, almost 120% jump in the open interest for Vodafone Idea in the last 1 to 2 weeks. So I would probably expect that the expectation towards the stock as well would be more of long built up, and which is why you've seen such a phenomenal price uptick from 4.5 levels in the month of August towards 8.5 plus where the stock is currently trading. So I believe both these stocks are could probably benefit. Vodafone Idea specifically from a short-term trading perspective, and Bharti Airtel could be a stock which could be into trending mode.
Any view on Indus Tower?
Not particularly, because I think that stock has remained more or less sideways. When you look at the charts for Indus Tower over the last 3 to 4 months, it's been just about hanging around the 200-day moving average. For example, even at current levels of 245 or 246, where the stock is trading, it's just about hanging around close to its 200-day moving average. There are no significant chunk of volume patterns for Indus Tower for us to try and take a preemptive call that the market bent is getting into the positive side. You see those odd gyrating moves for the stock. It tends to give you those breakouts, but the breakouts tends to fizzle closer to this 200 moving average. So I would probably give it a pass as of now.
Right. Naveen, in terms of telecom, so one of course is moratorium that you were talking about. Do you expect other things, other recommendations also to be in limelight once the press conference starts? Do you think that that is something, or what they say on that will also be important? Okay, I think that is something which Naveen probably I think the network had an issue. Kunal, what is your view on the market now? 17,486. How would you look at the Nifty?
I think it's going absolutely strong. There is no reason for short-term traders to try and look at any kind of a panic button over here, even though the markets are into an elevated zone, and even though we've seen global markets playing a bit divergent. But then the fact that there are so many stocks and sectors which keep on rotating themselves and adds to the benefit for many of the construct of the market overall, I think is very, very healthy. I think as a best trading play, what one has to do is even if you are a diverse in terms of your trading abilities, then you could be looking at index breaking past about the 17,500 levels over the next couple of days. And I think whenever that happens, you could be looking at another 200 to 250 point uptick on the Nifty. the best trading play over here is to try and have a trailing stop loss mechanism. So for guys who are more positional players, they could look at 17,150 or 200 as a short-term trailing stop loss. For someone who's very short-term oriented with a time frame of maybe just about a couple of days, I think yesterday's low 17,360 should be kept as a good stop loss. The concern for the markets is the lack of participation on the Bank Nifty front. I think that's the only concern from a short-term market perspective. But when you look at the broadness or the way the Nifty is participating, the sectors like IT, metals, telecom today has look very strong. Media over the last couple of days have looked very charged up. So there are so many sectors which are helping the markets or the Nifty to move up higher, but the Bank Nifty is still showing that tad bit of underperformance. So if I have to rate the market, I mean, if I have to look at the markets in terms of trading aspect, I would continue to be bullish on Nifty and probably wait out for maybe one more round of outperformance or breakout on the Bank Nifty to try and take a bullish call over there.
Okay, the telecom relief package, the markets had also been watching out for. Last week, no decision. This week, there's a decision, as my colleague Ruchi Bhatia has already broken for you exclusively first right here on the channel. I'll talk to you specifically about telecom. Exactly 24 hours ago, we brought you the big story of what the cabinet was likely to discuss and what the cabinet note had entailed. Here's a quick recap, and we're being told this is what has been passed by the cabinet as well. First up, the overarching theme is that the net present value for the government, the dues, levies, should not be touched. They will not be cut, they will not be reduced, there will be no retrospective waivers, no retrospective cuts. That's the overarching theme. And given that in mind, then there will be no cuts, waivers in the contentious AGR. AGR, penalty, interest, all of that has been upheld by the Supreme Court. The cabinet not getting into the quantum and all of that. What it is, however, doing, and we're being told by our sources, is to give relief to the telecom companies to pay the AGR dues with deferment. The deferment and moratorium is 4 years. So for 4 years, you basically kick the bucket down the road, kick the can down the road, but in the subsequent 5 years, the telecom companies will have to pay in equal installments, which basically means by the end of 10 years, what is owed to the government will be paid. You're kicking the can down the road and providing a moratorium for now for a period of 4 years. That's as far as AGR goes. Remember, Vodafone Idea, the one in the most financial precarious situation, its AGR bill is north of 58,000 crore rupees. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one pans out. As far as spectrum usage charge goes, a lot of industry chatter has been that will we see the scrappage of spectrum usage charge. What I'm being told is the cabinet prospectively from the date of notification can look at scrapping SUC as it's called, but not retrospectively. So the telecom companies unlikely to get a relief on that front the way they thought. All the spectrum that has been acquired will have to be paid for. As far as those duties and levies go, there can be deferment, and we are being told there is a deferment of about 4-year period. As far as the equity swap goes, there is a case has been made that should the government take equity in lieu of the levies. What we are being told is that it's going to be a very complicated mechanism. The final contours will have to be worked out, in fact, with Finance Ministry, SEBI. The final instrument, are they going to be convertible to equity? Will they be redeemable preference shares? All of that still needs to be decided. But the government is open to it. The cabinet, we're being told, is open to it. The mechanics, I'm being told, have not been worked out. It's going to also maybe not make as much of a difference, because if you look at it, if you have a 10 rupee share of Vodafone, it will mean 1,600 new shares if it's going to the 16,000 crore equity which is being talked about, which means Vodafone Idea's float can go up by 50%. Those contours need to be worked out. The telecom stocks very much in focus after this crucial cabinet meet. Let's take a short commercial break.